tuning in to another episode of the Berardo Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Berardo. Each episode I focus on giving you fun, entertaining content on health, happiness, positivity, and anything else that's important to us humans. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Instagram at the Berardo, and don't forget to subscribe to the show by visiting theberardo.com/thepodcast, or just click that little subscribe button wherever you're listening to the podcast. Thanks again, and enjoy the episode.
You're just funny. It's the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Yeah, come here though.
Are you ready?
Ladies and gents, boys and girls, children of all ages, what's going on? Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Berardo Podcast. Today's a fun one. I sit down with EJ Nieves, who's a local artist out of Florida and has done tons of great products for the city of Ocala as well as surrounding areas. And we just get a chance to kind of shoot the shit a little bit and talk about his passion and whether you are in fascination with art or not. I think you'll get a lot of value out of this because he's a motivational dude, talks a lot about passion and, you know, doing exactly what you love. And it was a really fun conversation with DJ. I'll leave all of his social media links below as well as the TED Talk he did in Ocala. I'll leave that on YouTube in the link below. But before we get into today's episode, I do want to thank some of our sponsors. So as you guys well know, I am a massive fan of Superfat. Superfat is literally my go-to. You know, if you follow me on Instagram, you know, that's typically where I post most of my recipes and things like that. But one of the biggest things people ask me is, you know, how I can actually stay healthy. And that is a really difficult thing to do, especially because food tastes awesome, right? And more often than not, the unhealthy food tastes the best. But what Superfat's been able to do is they've been able to create a line of keto-friendly snacks, vegan-friendly snacks, like their keto cookie bites, nut butters. They even have new baking mixes now. So they'll have like a brownie baking mix, pancake baking mix, and they just added some keto-friendly sprinkles. Yes. So if you're like me and you love to bake and cook, especially with my Superfat pancakes, I use my Superfat sprinkles. And they have birthday sprinkles that I just used for my birthday. I made some birthday pancakes, of course. And they also have chocolate ones as well. So you can visit their entire line of great products at superfat.com. If you want a big discount, use the code Berardo10 at checkout. You're going to get a discount on their entire portfolio. Again, they have everything you could possibly want from some good, delicious, and healthy snacks. And I also do want to thank our friends over at Golden Ratio. So Golden Ratio, folks, is your new favorite cup of coffee. I got a feeling you're going to like it. With Golden Ratio, you don't get any of that coffee breath, stained teeth, or even those bubbly guts. Because what Golden Ratio does is they actually slow roast all their coffee beans. So it actually drinks more like a tea than a coffee. They come in individual little pouches. You let it steep for 10 to 15 minutes just like you would a tea. But now you have a nice hot cup of coffee with the same amount of caffeine as your normal cup of coffee, but it's 5 times less acidic. And they have tons of great flavors. Vanilla coconut is probably one of my favorites. I got a couple, but they just came out with golden milk, which if you're a turmeric fan, turmeric? You know what I mean. But if you're a turmeric fan, they actually have a blend of turmeric, black pepper, and even vanilla. So it's got this sweet, smooth taste, and golden milk is a very popular drink, you know, across many coffee shops. There's a ton of great benefits to help with inflammation and to help calm you down a little bit. But, you know, of course, they have tons of other great flavors. So I encourage you to check it out. You can visit drinkgoldenratio.com if you want a discount. Use the code THEBERARDO at checkout, and you will not be disappointed. Try them out, folks, and thank you, Golden Ratio. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the podcast, EJ Nieves. Sounds good. Where are you at? Is that where you're at, the gallery right now?
Yeah, I'm at the gallery here. It's downtown Ocala. I still consider it downtown. It's like 5 minutes from downtown. So.
Yeah, that's what Ben was saying. Is like the downtown Ocala is like, does it really count as a downtown? I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
But,
We're working on it.
Yeah, dude. Looks like you've been a big part of it too. You're making it trendy as shit, man. So Keep up the
Thanks,
good
man.
work, buddy.
Absolutely.
Nothing really formal, man. And, again, I've been on a couple times. He's been, I think, on the show like 3 or 4 times. Sometimes we just fuck around. But to kind of give you a background, so say whatever you want. It's non-censored. It's not
Okay.
live, obviously. And really my whole podcast genre, I guess you could say, is just health, positivity, and wellness. So I try to do what I can to get with other creators, and I've had some comedians on that are pretty well known, and YouTube creators, and we talk about content, we talk about health, we talk about eating right,
Yeah.
working out. So I got a buddy that's in California. He's an actor. We've talked about that before. So really, I'm just kind of the reason I wanted to have you on is because lately, the last like 18 months, because I run the whole state, I'm the marketing manager for Monster. We've been really immersing ourselves in that culture, and it's so interesting to see how much art has changed from just going back like 5 years
Yeah.
to now. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit on what got you started and all that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And before we go on like record and stuff, I just want to tell you, and even on record, I can say it too. But any way, man, that I can help you, that would be an honor
Oh
to
yeah,
be able
dude.
to work with you with Monster capacity, with my art and Monster, man. So
For sure, dude. No, I'll put out some feelers after the pandemic. I think now that it's starting to get back to normal, we could probably take a look and sidebar a couple things. So I'll do what I can. What you see is kind of what'll show up on screen. So that's your
okay,
Instagram handle, yeah.
yep,
Cool. And then before we get started, let's kind of get into a little bit about where you're located, how long you've been, in the art game, so to speak. What got your
yeah,
start, all that jazz, so people can kind of get a good feel for you.
yeah. No, so man, I've been doing artwork now. Uh, I'm 37. I've been doing artwork now since I was in third grade. But you fast forward. High school was really when I started getting a little serious for me in regards to just responsibilities with art. I remember doing editorial cartooning for some topics and issues that we would put inside of the high school newspaper. So that was kind of the first time that I ever really thought of art as the responsibility of art and what art can do and help out with
Right.
in regards to culture and society. So that was kind of phase one. Phase two was when I got to college, and I always wanted to be a graphic designer. That was just kind of my thing. I never really painted. I always drew with a pencil and pen, and it wasn't until I got to college I started experimenting a little bit, and then by senior year I say accidentally because it was like a 4,000 level painting class that I registered for, and I never really painted before. And I remember being in the midst of greatness. I was just like, wow, this is pretty amazing. This is epic. I left the class with like a C, but it was just kind of cool to be around so many amazing visual artists that created in that realm. And so that's really
Right.
what started the love of painting for me. And then we were really off to the races with that because it became a hobby. That then you fast forward about 6 or 7 years after college is when a hobby turned into a profession. And the last job that I had, I was a middle school art teacher. I held on to that as long as I could, but the passion and desire to want to wake up every day and paint, it really just took over. And I took a plunge. And the fourth year, the Christmas break of my fourth year of teaching, I quit. I put my two
Wow.
weeks in when I came back from Christmas break, and I've been on a beautiful free fall ever since.
That's awesome, man. And so how long ago was that?
Man, now we are wow. We're definitely I think like year 5 or 6 from when I was a teacher and just doing
Wow.
this full time and really trying to understand now is the nitty gritty of understanding taxes and money streams and making it work. Last year I actually went homeless. Um,
Oh
Trying to
shit.
figure things out and how to make money, how to keep money, et cetera, et cetera. So I actually went homeless for about 6 months, and I lived in the back of my art gallery, between my gallery and my car, as I was kind of trying to figure some things out. But figured them out, back on my feet, got a safe place
Wow.
to call home, got another car, and so we're back at it, man. But it's been an amazing journey thus far. So
Well, dude, good for you, man. Way to I mean, bro, way to have some what I like to call stickativity. Uh,
Yeah.
that that that's a word that I'm very familiar with because there's trying times, right? And
Yeah.
it takes a strong person to come back from that. So kudos to you, man, on doing that.
Oh no, thank you so much for that, brother.
And so you got your studio up and running in Ocala right now, right? Your gallery.
Oh yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, no, the studio is up. So there's two situations going on now. So as it stands, we have my art gallery that is it's downtown Ocala. It's on 8th Avenue across the train tracks, I like to call it. And this is the brick and mortar where the artists that I represent at the times that I represent them, they have their opportunity to be able to be showcased on the wall and then have shows. Now, COVID, really put a stop to that, man, a hard stop. I've been open now, June. We're in June, so we are a year. I'm at my 1 year anniversary, which actually just
Wow.
talking to you and just kind of talking about it out loud, I just realized that right now. I have been here for a solid year. I remember I signed paperwork in May of last year, and then I moved in right in the middle of the pandemic. I moved in, and I tried to have a show or two, but just gonna be completely honest, man. Just the shows were big. I had about 200-300 people at each show, at each opening,
Wow.
and it
Cool.
was one of those things where I had to be honest with myself, and I had to say, man, I want to be responsible. We're at the height, we were at pretty much the height of COVID, or not the height, but just in the midst of it. Rather, we were in the midst of COVID. Whether people were kind of starting to do a little bit of the activities with mask and PPE and hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. And but it was one of those things that I just had to kind of take responsibility of that situation and say, man, there are hundreds of people coming to my shows, and I had two of them. And after the second one, thank God, I didn't hear back in regards to people getting COVID or anything of that nature. Thank God. But it was one of those things where I just didn't want to be that guy that, like, hey, you had a show, even though socially distanced and PPE
Right.
there was like a little mini outbreak. Five, six, seven people got COVID at your show, and so I put a stop to it. We stopped for after, I'd say, July. We had a couple shows, and then by like July, I was like, man, I'm gonna hard stop this and just not have any more shows for the rest of the year. And
Wow.
it's been interesting. Since then, I continue to have it open because I knew that even if I couldn't have shows, I would still showcase my artwork. I was still showcasing artwork of others. And now, a year later, now that the vaccine's out and people are getting vaccinated, and people are feeling a lot more, health conscious about the situation. They're feeling a little bit more free to go out, and safe is really the bigger component of that. People are feeling safe to go out to events.
That's the key. Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about starting it, starting that engine back up. We're a year in. I learned, my ups and downs with having events during COVID and how that looked like on social media, the optics of it. And
Right.
you had some that were okay with it, and then you had another group that was not okay with it. And me
Yeah.
as a business owner, I had to be responsible, man. I just had to
Totally.
take responsibility for myself and my building, or my setting and my atmosphere, and I wanted
Yeah.
people to be safe. So that's why I made the decision to close down. But yeah, no, we're back at it, and I'm about to have a show come pretty soon, and I'm super excited, man. We're
Oh,
back at
nice,
it
dude. Yeah, dude. Keep me in the loop with those shows, man. I'd love to come check it out. Um,
for sure.
I uh I first I think Ben sent me your info because he knows I'm such a comic book nerd.
Yeah,
And I've noticed, I know you've kind of, I'm sure it's, you got to go where the money is. So the big
yeah,
murals and everything you're doing is obviously much more appealing to a larger crowd and definitely more sexier from an art culture standpoint. But I first looked at you, I think, before the pandemic, where you had some pretty sick comic book art stuff. I think there was like a Venom one I saw. The Joker one was dope. So there's a
thanks,
lot
man.
of yeah, dude. There's a lot of cool stuff. So what kind of inspired that side of because obviously there's numerous you know
Yeah,
uh, levels to the onion, right? When you peel it away, but that comic book side and all that stuff. What kind of inspired that?
yeah, man. from an early age, I was reading Spawn comic books, man. Todd McFarlane is a huge
Right.
inspiration of mine. He's somebody that he's bucket list to be able to meet. I would like to meet and like have dinner with him. You know, I mean, not just meet him at
Oh
a
yeah.
Comic Con and shake his hand. It would be an absolute honor to have 20-30 minutes with him, an hour to just talk and understand whatever he's willing to share. I know that he was on Marvel and then he was no longer on Marvel. He did a lot of Spider-Man stuff back then when he was with Marvel,
Yeah.
and then he jumped over and created Image Comics and Spawn. Image Comics was just this really cool. As a 90s kid, growing up 37. So, I grew up in the 90s. And so Image was just kind of like this really cool, progressive, always taking that next step forward with
Right.
their imagery type of work. And I was always inspired by them. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really where it started, man. And so that is where it started as a kid. And then you just really, as I grew up and now as an adult, the past decade, when I started, getting into the Comic Cons the past decade and just seeing Marvel roll out, just the juggernaut that they
Crazy.
are in storytelling and how they do it so masterfully, it really is inspiring, man. And so that's really what captivated me to be able to kind of help that along, to create these characters, or to paint these characters, and to show these characters in a way, in a graffiti style, in a graphic style that maybe you don't see all the time in a comic book or in advertising. And so my style lends itself to a lot of splatter and drip, as you can see right behind me, or yeah, that right behind me is
Right.
my style is very reminiscent of graffiti lines, very hard black edges, drips and splatters, and I didn't see that a lot in comic culture. Um,
Yeah.
uh, and so that there are some brands and some comic, some characters and some storylines that they and the aesthetic to it that kind of has that, but for the most part, a lot of comic books are very clean edged. You don't really see a lot of drip, and um, so that for me, because that's my style, that's how I wanted to capture all of these beloved heroes and villains that people really like to look at and attach themselves to.
Yeah, dude. No, it definitely comes through in the art, and it's definitely something that's unique and radical about it. Again, it caught my eye as a big. I just turned 36 as well, so I was in that same genre where I had the Wizard subscription. I don't know
Oh
if you remember
yeah,
that
dude,
back in the
Wizard,
day.
bro. I could go on, bro. You just brought back some memories with Wizard, going all the way to
Oh,
the back and seeing how much your toys were worth and how much the comics were worth. Come on, man.
hell yeah,
And
bro!
like
It
I
was
remember
like,
GI Joe. I'd always like
yeah,
look up like Cobra Commander, like how much does he cost now? That's
that's right.
crazy. I haven't heard Wizard in years, man.
My dude, the only reason I bring it up now is because I recently, so I got a place in Apollo Beach,
Okay.
and my father just moved over here as well. So he sold his place, or is trying to sell his place in Orlando.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking, reach out to me. But he's trying to sell his place in Orlando, moving over here, and he shot me a picture. He's like, "Yo, dude, I found a plethora of your old comics,
Come on.
some of my old drawings. So like I'll send you some pictures. I got some wicked stuff when
Please
I
do.
used to sketch a lot of like Batman, Superman, mainly DC because I'm a DC nut, but also like
Yeah.
Looney Tunes, Marvin the Martian used to be my jam,
Oh yeah.
and he sent me an entire tote. I probably have, I want to say, 4 years maybe of subscriptions worth of Wizard.
Are you
And
serious?
yeah, and
Whoa,
I
man.
just
I
found
just
them,
got goosebumps, bro. I got
dude.
goosebumps. I remember Wizard was my jam, and Nintendo Power
Oh yeah, for
magazine was
sure.
my jam. Man, that was the era, dude. Wizards and the baggie, or whatever, because they wanted you to buy it so you didn't thumb through. I mean, I remember there was a time where like you could thumb through it, but then out of nowhere they started bagging them up because I guess they caught on that people were just like reading them and not buying them. So you had that.
Oh
It
yeah,
just reminds me of a time where I used to go to the store, man, and like, oh my god, Nintendo Power, like learning about Mortal Kombat 1, like Mortal Kombat 2 coming out, like, man, you just took me back. The Wizard, that word, I haven't heard anybody talk about a Wizard magazine probably in 10 years.
Yeah,
That was
dude.
awesome, bro. You literally just time traveled me with one word. I
It's
love it, dude.
it's what happens on the Barada podcast. This is why we're here. Yeah, dude, it
That's
definitely
cool.
brought me back too once I saw it because, he also sent me like, I have like these things, these old school
Oh, come on, dude.
die
Yeah.
casts, just all types of stuff, man, just really brought me back. And it made me think to myself, because, I sketch every now and again, but a lot of the content that I do now, I didn't realize it, but subconsciously, I guess, comes through on my podcast and my YouTube channel. And I'm assuming, maybe with some of the art that you do as well, like as you get into it, because I'd love to get your opinion on this. Like as you're getting into art, if I'm sure you have an idea of what you want to do, but as you're doing it, there's got to be something like subconsciously that happens to your brain where you want to go a certain way and do this because maybe a childhood dream or a childhood
Yeah.
experience, or because not everything you do is improv, right? I mean, is there planning involved? Is there some type of 90s feel to it? Like how do you go about doing a project?
For a while, and I'll just be transparent. For a little bit,
Sure.
I did kind of go through a burnout stage because the inspiration was drawn from what was hot at the moment,
Mm,
hence pop culture.
sure.
And with Marvel, I mean, whatever movie was out, man, Comic Con culture can be tiring at times. I love it. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of hype. It can be very emotional. Like how we had the moment with Wizard, right? Like, there's other things that, for example, like I used to do. Um, I didn't really collect like baseball cards, but I collected um, like X-Men cards and like
Right.
Fleer. So if somebody said Fleer or somebody said like Marvel Masterpiece,
You're like,
or there's particular
yeah.
brands of like comic trading cards that, man, it'll bring me right back to what we were doing, back when I was a kid going to a comic shop. But for a long time, I mean, I've been doing this almost for a decade, so I'd say about a majority of that I would paint to pop culture and what was happening. And I had a lot of enjoyment for that. But there was a moment where I did have to take a break, and even now I'm semi from my comic stuff and pop culture. I'm kind of on a break, kind of hiatus for a little bit.
Right.
I started doing the murals, and that kind of took over, and I'm grateful for that. And it really was the break that I needed from pop culture, because it was like on demand. If there was a new Spider-Man movie coming out,
You had to do it. Yeah.
that's what people wanted. If
Right.
Winter Soldier and Falcon came out, that's what people wanted. WandaVision,
Yeah.
that's what people wanted. The new, the one that was like a really big pop was Mandalorian. I
Yeah.
was painting Mandalorian out of my ears,
Baby
and that's
Yoda like
cool. It's
crazy and shit.
yeah, and I really enjoyed it. Grogu people, Baby Yoda or Grogu,
Yeah.
whatever. But for a while, it really was that, paint to pop culture, and that
Right.
can get kind of exhausting when you're trying to kind of keep up with it. And so I started doing a lot of my own type of abstract work, and then one mural turned into another, and then into another. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, and I'm grateful for that. That the mural work is actually it's very transcendent of my style and kind of what I want to do mixed with what the client wants to do. It's not necessarily like I am trying to cater or build to
Mm.
the atmosphere of what's happening in our society today or our culture today. So
That's what the client wants,
it's been a
essentially.
cool run. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's been a cool run, and I'm definitely gonna get back to the Comic Con scene. I'm possibly gonna be doing Ocala Comic Con, which is in September. So that will definitely kickstart that engine back again. And so in a couple months, I'll start revving up for that.
Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, because I saw the business card Ben put together, which was great. I'll leave the links to your social media and your website in the actual podcast description. So if you
Thank
guys
you.
are listening, on Apple or Spotify, you could just open up the description. You'll see EJ's info there and the site. But the business card I thought was perfect, considering like how step A, how a client wants to actually approach you, how you build that relationship and how you get to know the client. So if you could talk a little bit more about that, if there's someone out there that maybe wants some service, because I love the mural work that you did. And even did something on the street too in Ocala, it looked like, right?
Yeah, oh, that one was in Lake Wells, Florida, which is
Like Wells.
about 20, 30 minutes from Lakeland.
Right.
Um, But yeah, no. First of all, I want to shout out, Ben Mangum with Blueprint Productions. He's a friend of mine, a homie of mine, and just a really good dude, solid dude, and the work he produces is phenomenal. That one, I'll be honest, like we took a lot of time with that. I am usually the kind of client, like in a client standpoint, which is funny because I can be a client too, right?
Right.
In a client standpoint, um, I want things kind of like now,
Right.
fast. Like let's get it moving, let's get
Yeah.
it percolating. And I remember when we started, Ben sat me down and he really wanted to understand my heart, man. And that's not to like that's not to gas him up or anything like that, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
The initial when we sat down and we started talking about what it was that he wanted to know what I wanted to get out of it. Then he shared with me like, hey, as the expertise in this realm of creating a brand story for you and being able to give you a product that you'll be able to give potential clients over and over and over again. We really want to take our time with this and we want to make sure that your message is correct. And so we had a couple of initial conversation and meetings. And then the biggest piece of this puzzle was really him being honest with me and sharing with me the importance of getting footage of the pieces getting started through the process and finished. I remember there was a moment in the middle of production where I was like, man, let's just run it. We have everything that we need from my voice rather, but he would always say, EJ, but like we want people to see the finished mural work, man. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna wrap this all up in with a bow to this beautiful present that you're gonna be giving people when you introduce yourself. And yeah, so it took some time, but when it was done and I saw the video for the first time, I did get emotional, man. It is it is powerful in a way that I personally, and I was the one that was being filmed telling my story. The magic of Ben and the magic of Blueprint Productions is that he's able to take your heart and transcend it on camera in a way that really tells people who you are and why you do what you do. He understands the concept of telling your why. And we would
Absolutely.
talk about that all the time. What is your why? I've been an artist for 10 years, and to a certain degree, the artwork sells itself. It might take a week, it might take a year, or it might take longer. What is it? The science of numbers, for every 10 no's, you get a
Yeah.
yes.
Law
If
of
I
averages.
continue to put
Yeah.
my artwork in front of people, somebody will say yes and buy it. But the thing is that I never have practiced sharing my why.
Mm.
That's why it's a cool opportunity to be on your podcast, to share my why, to expound on like why I do what I do, because for years I just kind of was in my art cave. I painted, I took a picture of it, and I put it on my Instagram or I put it on my website and
Right.
called it a day. I never talked about my why. And to see my why in a video and I can play it back and it's flawless because Ben created it as such, it's powerful. And I'm
No,
so
it's
grateful,
serious.
man, for it.
Yeah, no, Ben's great, man. He's done, work like, if you watch my podcast on YouTube, there's an intro video. We did that a
Hmm.
couple years ago. He's actually coming
Uh,
out. He's coming out, next week on the 12th or the 13th or something. He's going to come to my crib in Apollo Beach and he's going to bring Rachel. And I was like, yo, bro, I got a new place. I got a new studio. I decked this out. Let's do a new intro
yeah,
video. And, same thing. He took the time and he really plans accordingly to where, okay, what's the message here? What do you want? What's your
yeah,
why, right? Like, what do you want the message to be about? How long do you want it to be? Like, it's not just filming. It's interesting how you said it too, where, you had something in mind as the client. The end result, there's emotion attached to it because you don't even know what it is. You don't know what the end result's
yes,
going to be. And he's good. He's great. And so is the whole team over there that they could literally take what you need and just build that story and that finished result, one draft.
yeah.
That's it. You're good. It's wicked, man, for sure. It turned out great. Yeah, no, it definitely explains kind of, what you were looking for. And I'm sure you were shocked where you're like, this is better than I could even imagine it would be, right?
Yes.
Like,
That's why I
yeah,
got emotional, because I was like, I believe in myself. And the biggest thing that I tell any creative, any person, period, but definitely creatives, podcast creators and podcast hosts, artists, influencers, all that, you know, believe in yourself. You are your biggest promoter, no
yeah,
matter who's in your corner, who's on your team. At the end of the day, nobody is going to promote you as much as you can for yourself, because you know your heart of hearts. And so, with that being said, to see a video that truly captures who I am, it it really kind of left me speechless, man.
yeah,
That's who I am. That video is unequivocally me. There's nothing. It wasn't scripted, man. You know, Ben asked the right questions.
yeah.
Period. He
Sums
asked
up
me
nice.
specific questions, and he tailored everything together in a way that, yeah, the end
No,
result, dude.
money.
I would use that video for years and years and years,
For
years.
sure. Well, hey, listen, if you wanna come out with Ben and Rachel, well, I'll text you after this, and if you want to come by, I got a nice
Yeah,
little
man.
I got a brick oven pizza we're gonna cook on. Hopefully the weather holds up, but
Hey,
and then
okay,
you
that
could
sounds
check out
fun,
you could
man.
check out the studio and my I thank goodness I have my own. I'll send you some pictures when we get off here, but
Yeah,
I have my own man cave studio, so I got on this side just for me as I do my podcast because I've been doing so many virtually with the pandemic. I have 12 kind of like framed. They're hard to explain, but they're like these cool deco DC picture frames with some radical images, and like one is Batman from the first Batman comic, #1. I even have a wizard framed comic up here, so there's some pretty radical stuff up here. But yeah, it'd be cool to have you guys come over and check it out for sure. I think this would be like episode 113 or 114 or something.
wow.
Yeah, but I normally have people come in. My old studio that I had in Tampa was just like a pretty rad, like updoor or upstairs like loft. And I
Yeah,
would have people come in, so like Ben and all my boys, we would just come out, we would shoot the shit, and we would do it. So now I've probably done like 50 of these virtually.
mm-hmm.
And the program's pretty cool. Like it's called Ecamm Live. It's really radical where I could like create this border and add your
Yeah,
name to it. So it's cool, but if you're not like on Wi-Fi and like if it's raining where you're at, that might
yeah,
interrupt the Wi-Fi. There's nothing better than like doing a podcast one-on-one. Like the virtual
yeah.
thing is like I'm about sick of this shit. But yeah, dude, maybe we can get you down. Hopefully, if the weather permits, I'll keep you copied on that. Me
That's cool.
and maybe we'll get you out here. It's a little bit of a hike from Ocala, but hopefully if the weather's nice, I'm gonna fire up the brick oven. You get to make your own pizza. We'll have a couple
No,
drinks, have a good time. Yeah, dude, it's been cool.
no, that sounds good, dude. That
Uh,
sounds great.
so I do want to talk real quick before I let you go because I know it took a lot of your time. Hopefully you got a few minutes left for me.
No, you're good.
Oh man. But I watched the little TED talk you did, man, in Ocala. That was pretty sick.
Thank you.
How did that come about, man? That was a great speech.
Nah, thanks. It was just one of those things where I was like, wow, this is a cool opportunity. Um, Ocala, they host their own TED. Not every city, but cities that have their TED Talk. I don't even know how to even explain it. Like
Yeah,
TED Talk, the umbrella. Then it's like, hey, each city that wants it, if
has
your
their
city
own.
has a TED Talk, then you can do a TED Talk at their city, and then later on, if you ever get invited, you can go to the big one. I saw the call out, and I was like, that'd be cool. I enjoy speaking in front of people. I have a heart to speak and pour into people. The TED Talk, the theme was voice, and
Mm,
my whole thing was like you're able to talk with people. Like art is able to talk to you without talking. So essentially, art has a voice, and that's where it started. It was a mixture between art having a voice and then my mantra that I live by that's called "Build bridges, not kingdoms." Which actually, speaking of Ben, was actually how we became friends. We were friends on Facebook, kinda, and then one day he was like, "Hey, man, like I don't know, let's shoot a film or something. Let's do something. Let's collab." During that time is when I had started talking a lot about building bridges, not kingdoms, and then we did the video. Blueprint Productions did the Build Bridges Not Kingdoms, like mantra video, if you will, philosophy video.
nice.
and then we were off to the races. So the TED Talk is about me talking, about half building bridges, not kingdoms, and the other half is the voice, like the voice that art can bring to society, to culture.
That's awesome. No, I really enjoyed it, and it's only like I think 8 or 10 minutes long or something. But I'll
Yeah, it's not too
yeah,
long.
but I'll leave that YouTube at the bottom so you folks listening could take a look because it's pretty cool, man. It's not about what I liked most about it. I wrote down one quote in particular, like you said. It said, "Humanity is about love and the exchange of passion and ideas." If I'm
Yeah,
probably paraphrasing, but I enjoyed the whole attitude behind it, where it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't really about art. It was almost about your passion, and your passion
yeah,
just happens to be art. And kind of what I took from it, and I think a lot of people out there, hopefully this was your message, was if you're listening to that TED Talk, whatever your passion is, it's going to have a voice, and it just depends on how
yes,
you express that voice to whether it's the general public or your friends and family, or if you want to be lucrative with it, if you want to start a business, whatever, or if you just want to do it just to do it. Like me, I sketch and I do this podcast for fun. I'm not planning on being a Joe Rogan. I mean, how great would that be? But at the end of the day, I do this because I enjoy talking to people, and I think
yeah,
every person I talk to, I'm going to get something out of it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I think we all could agree that even the bad stuff you learn from, even more so maybe
yes,
than the good stuff. So that's why I do the podcast, and that's kind of how I took it as a creator. Where, if you have a passion, it's going to have a voice. It just every person's going to be different how you express that.
yeah. No, that no, you definitely, that was it, man. Because in the TED Talk, I talked about the passion of mine being art, but ultimately, it's whatever your passion is. The viewer, the audience. It was a charge. It was a declaration. It was an encouragement to everybody to find their passion and allow their passion to speak. And essentially, everybody's speech has a voice, has a different voice.
Yeah, that's
Some are
huge.
soft spoken, some are not soft spoken, some are, like everybody has a different voice, man.
Yeah. Well, and now with social media, man, we're how blessed are we to even have the opportunity to do something. If you go all the way back to like the wizard days, throwing it out there
Yeah.
again. If you go all the way back
Yep.
to that, bro, and you decided to do some graffiti art on Spider-Man or any type of comic book character, how challenging would it be to get it out to the general public? I mean, you'd have to start a website, you'd have to put up
Yep.
flyers, and but now all you got to do is do a little TikTok or throw something on Instagram and tag a few folk and do some hashtags. Next thing you know, boom, it's got a couple thousand views. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. So there's no excuse. I always tell people, and I've been telling Ben this for years. I'm like, motherfucker needs to start a podcast.
Oh
But
yeah, no, he's good for it, and I tell him
yeah,
too, because he's the bro, and so there are times that I'm like, bro, are you like a therapist or something? Like,
nah.
did you go to school for therapy or for counseling? Because like
Yeah,
sometimes we'll just be talking, and I'll just share my heart with him, man, because he just knows how to ask those questions. I think
yeah.
that's the biggest piece of Ben, and he
Easy to
is
talk to
very
too.
gifted. Yeah, he's great to talk to, and he knows how to ask very beautiful and intentional questions that open up all these avenues of conversation.
Yeah,
Hence, a pretty cool podcast could be on the way, Ben.
yeah.
This is
Ben,
us telling you to start your podcast.
get your shit together,
Call it
Blueprint.
Blueprint, the Blueprint Podcast.
Yeah, I like it. It's got a nice little ring to it. And I know who could create the video card for that as well. Blueprint
Exactly. I
Productions.
think I know who can make that happen.
That's right. So what's next for EJ, man? Are you gonna do more murals? Are you planning on? I know you said your gallery potentially maybe doing a show here soon. So kind of what's next for you, man? Let the people know.
Yeah, man. So a couple things. Actually, I'm wearing a hat of one of the next things that's kind of happening in my life. So I am a partner in a tech company called Pixelum, and Pixelum is a search engine. We're not trying to topple Google. Google is king, right? But what we are trying to do is to disrupt the local market and how local businesses are found. A lot of times we have to fight through SEO, and we have to fight through Google Ads, and we have to fight through a lot of things before we
Oh,
actually get down to the nitty gritty of your local plumber, your local dry cleaner. There's always, and God bless them, right? There's always those
right.
companies that can't afford to drop. tens of thousands of dollars on SEO to be at the very top of a Google search. But we're trying to disrupt the local searchability market. We're trying to help the local economy, and so Pixelum is that solution to the problem of having a hard time to find local companies. So look out for Pixelum. We're out. We're ready to go. Pixelum.com. It's on my hat here.
I
So
like it.
that's happening. And then working on some production, man. I've always wanted to get into movies. And Dan and I, we have a show called A Day in the Life. My friend Daniel Gray. And so we have a show on YouTube right now called A Day in the Life. And long story short, is just a day in the life of what we do. Now, with the newest episode that we have coming out, because we wanted to kind of test our acting chops and kind of, play around with that on Facebook, we've been kind of teasing this John Wick style mini movie in the middle of a vlog. So ultimately, what it will be is a vlog, a regular random vlog about regular life, and literally in the middle of the vlog, black bars go down, completely scripted, choreographed fight scenes,
Oh my God,
and it'll
that's
just
awesome.
happen in the middle of a vlog, and literally just like that, it'll go away and it'll be right back to the vlog. So we
That's
want to
great.
try something a little bit different, man. So look out for that. So art is my first love, but I love movie making. Directing is a passion of mine. It's something that's really been in my heart to do for quite a while. And so this opportunity that we have with what we like to call the John Wick episode, so it'll be dropping next week.
That's
So
awesome.
next
Is that
next
those
week
little?
sometime.
Is that the little teasers? What you guys holding? Is that some old school Nerf guns? What is that?
Yeah, so we were
That's
doing
awesome.
some Nerf gun action.
That's sick. I saw that.
Ben was actually in that episode too, so he was one of the villains. We call him Agent, Agent Mangum.
Ah,
So Agent Mangum is in there wielding a Nerf pistol. It's gonna
awesome.
be a good time, man.
That's cool, man. No, it looks rad. And in terms of the gallery,
Yeah,
so you currently have a studio. Is it open to the public? Do you do appointments only? How does that work?
yeah. For COVID purposes, we are doing appointment only. Masks are preferred, and so
Sure.
just want to be respectful to everybody. So PPE will be available. So we're going to be doing on appointment basis. So you can go to Nest Galleries on Facebook, NEHS Galleries, and so we're on Facebook. You can set an appointment right then and there, and then yeah, come check out the gallery, come check out the space, and I'll be opening Nest Studios in a location called Workspace Collective, which
Oh,
is downtown. That is in the heart of downtown. So the gallery is a clean space, what I like to call a clean space, where the artist's work will be displayed on the wall, and then my dirty space, where I actually create my artwork, will be in workspace. Will be in a place called Workspace. Um,
awesome.
so I'm very excited, man. A lot of things in the works.
Big things, dude. Considering we're, a lot of people right now are struggling to find work and struggling to find jobs. Sounds like,
Yeah,
you're keeping your head above water, which is great. And I think a lot of it has to do with attitude. I tell that to all my friends that are currently suckling the unemployment teat. I say, hey,
yeah,
listen, man, if you want to keep doing that, that's cool. But next thing you know, you're going to be, 35 years old with no dreams, aspirations, or work
yeah,
ethic instilled. And I think it sounds like you were instilled in a work ethic at a younger age, and I think that's important. But the cool thing with work ethic is you could start it tomorrow.
yes,
I always tell my friends and people that are kind of struggling to have a career is, as long as you could just focus on trying to be better than you were yesterday,
yes,
that's it. That's all you can do. We don't there should be no. It's interesting how we kind of always put like, I want the Lamborghini, or I want X amount of
yeah,
dollars, or I want, we're so fascinated with, like you said, pop culture and just people in general. And if you could just block out all that noise of what everyone else is doing and just do what you love, whether that's art, podcast, creating content, creating movies, spending time with your family, going to work, whatever it is, if you could just be better at that every single
yeah.
day, that's it, man. That's all you could do. Don't take this shit so seriously. Just have fun and do what you love. That's what I always like to say.
Absolutely, man.
But dude, listen, I did want to throw a little trivia at you because I'll probably end up calling this episode "Art is an Art," or maybe "Art has a Voice," or something like that. Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of nuggets that you threw in there I thought were really interesting. Where like art's your passion, but now you're doing these other things.
Yes,
And that's kind of art too. Like, even though it's
absolutely.
not physical art, right? Like, I
Yeah,
think there's a misconception of art where people think painting or they think, but really art is, it's art.
yeah. Like for me, art. I mean, and this is very meta, right? Like we're up in the clouds, but
Yeah.
to me, art is anything that you manifest, bro. Art is
Ooh,
creation. Like, and I know that's extremely meta because then people are like, "Oh, well, are you saying that making a peanut butter jelly sandwich is art?" I mean, is
kinda.
it?
I
I
might
mean,
my PB and
is
J's are
cooking
pretty
art?
bomb, bro. Yeah,
So people can make some pretty mean peanut butter jelly sandwiches out there.
you're not
Homemade
wrong, man.
jam, homemade peanut butter. It's an art form, man. So for me, art is anything that's created, brother.
Yeah,
And you
I like
create
that.
it, that is art. Fine art or abstract art or visual art is my cornerstone. It is my first love, in regards to like hobbies and things I like to do, professionally, if you will. When it
No,
comes to all the other things that I'm doing, it all builds off of the foundation of my love for visual art, and I think that's the best way. That's the best way to kind of talk about the trajectory of where my life will go
I love it.
henceforth. I'll still do art. I'll still do stuff with canvas. I'll still paint Spider Man. I'll still paint a mural every now and then. But if you see me at a tech summit wearing a Pixelum hat, standing on stage, talking about the marketing aspects of a brand new tech company that's disrupting the local market, just know in my heart of arts, or in my heart of hearts, that is also art.
Nice. I like it, man. Well said. Well, I'm gonna drop this quick trivia on you. I don't know if you know this or not.
But
Um,
yeah.
do you know the very first recorded piece of art ever in human history?
Whew. No, I'm just gonna throw out like some kind of caveman. Indiana Jones found some caveman art somewhere, and then that was recorded. That would
Ladies and
be like a
ladies and
crazy guess of
gentlemen,
mine.
ladies and gentlemen, he knows his shit. So, and keep in mind, I didn't know this either, right? I used is it Pixelum? I used Pixelum to do it. Fuck Google. I
Yeah.
didn't do that. No, but I fucking Googled this shit beforehand because I was super interested too before I want to talk to you. And I like to do this in every
Yeah.
podcast, is whatever the industry is. I like to find something that's interested in it and then, through a little
Yeah.
trivia. So you nailed it though, because the first recorded piece of art was actually found in a cave in
Wow.
the Borneo jungle. I'm probably butchering that, in Indonesia.
Wow.
And it's actually 40,000 years old.
Wow.
It's the first recorded piece of art where it's just a caveman that drew, they think it was, maybe clay and mud and things like that. But it was just of cows, pictures of cows roaming around.
Yeah.
40,000 years
Wow.
ago. The reason I want to throw out that trivia was because it's super interesting, especially in my work, and then, what I see you doing and so many other great artists is 40,000 years leads us to today,
Yeah.
2022 almost. The art culture, look at where it's come from. From painting on cave walls to
Yes.
now, you have people like yourself doing murals on streets and buildings and entire galleries dedicated to the art form. It's fucking mind blowing where it's coming from.
Yeah. I
People
love
don't
it,
know.
man.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
really cool.
So let me pronounce your name the right way. Is it Nieves?
Perfect, man. You got it right the first time.
Dude, booyah. My girlfriend, shit, she did. My wife, I'll cut that part out. My, my almost 3 years I've been married to this broad, and I still call her my
That's
girlfriend.
awesome, man. Congrats.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But my
That's
wife
that's
is
how much in love you are with her, bro. You're like she's your girlfriend still.
yes.
First love jitters.
Great save, EJ. Thank you. But she's Spanish, so I pick up the Nieves, and I'm the Rodriguez and
That's
the
what's up.
Fernandez. Yeah, dude. But EJ Nieves, list your website so we can send some people there, and anything you got going on, some hashtags.
Man, you can find me at www.officialness.com. That's official like a referee. N as in Nancy, EH, S as in super. And that is my art handle for everything. Official, NEHS, for Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everything.
Nice, nice. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Had a blast. We'll have to do it again. I think we cut in and out so many times. It's only like a 35-minute podcast, so maybe we need to go
Yeah.
for like an hour or something. We'll get you back on the show. It'll be fun to catch up.
Yeah, man. Maybe we could do it with Ben next time. We probably talked about Ben for about a quarter of the episode, so he might as well just be here to defend himself.
That's right. We might as well. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah. We'll set that up, man. We'll make it happen. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of exciting shit going on. The world is getting back to normal.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait.
Me too.
Thanks again for the time, brother. Enjoy yourself. Keep working hard, man. Appreciate your efforts, and we'll talk soon.
Likewise, man. See ya.
Thank you, brother.